Hey guys, this is the Q3 2021 analysis on the earnings call that just happened. So if you are not a shareholder, a staff member, a member of management, or someone that cares about the business side of DavidsTea, feel free to skip this video and I'll see you guys tomorrow. But if you are, this is a very important call. As a reminder, a earnings call is every 3 months. The management team, Sarah Segal, Frank Zitella, they get on a phone and basically invite analysts, shareholders, and people who care to tell them how the financials are going, how the quarter went, how the last 3 months went, the collection, any announcements, any important things, and go from there. It is not just important because there's money on the line, there's millions of dollars being moved around, but it is important because the staff members with their talent and their education and their hard work are throwing down for us, bringing things to market, and they are using DavidsTea to raise their kids. So we need to remember that, and that's why it's so important to listen to the call yourself, do analysis yourself, share opinions, proxy vote, figure out that the management is justified in what they're doing, and sort of go from there. Okay, so if you haven't, I did make a Q2 2021 earnings call analysis. So if you wanted to start there, it was the first one I ever did. And if you remember, all I said is I want context. I'm waiting my time, I'm just viewing, I'm observing, because I'm learning, I'm figuring out who's who, where's everyone in the organization, what's their strategy. And Sarah Segal was appointed CEO. So I want to go through the lens of now the context is everything that happens to DavidsTea now is Sarah Segal era stuff. She is the visionary, she is the head of branding, she is the chief executive officer and head of management. She controls and is the alpha and the omega. So just for the context of perspective, we're going to call this whole era currently of DavidsTea the Sarah Segal era. Sarah Segal is a descendant of the original co-founders who is now CEO. The Segals are the people behind DavidsTea. David Segal and Herschel Segal started it. Herschel has retired being 92. David sold out all of his shares during the IPO when they went public on the New York Stock Exchange, and he's gone on to do things like the Mad Radish. But now Sarah, who came up in product development at DavidsTea, and she created Squish, a candy company, she's basically been brought up and the board has placed her as CEO. So perspective, she is the alpha and the omega. She makes all the final decisions. There are some weird things there where there are family members. Herschel owns 46% of all shares. Jane, his wife, has taken his place as chairman on the board, which also Sarah Segal sits on. So it's kind of, they are in a parliamentary system where they get to make the decisions, and it takes a lot of work to build consensus to say, let's justify that, guys, because they don't necessarily need to. All right, let's run over quickly everything that happened in the quarter. Good news, they did a Glenlivet partnership, so they partnered with a whiskey company. I will have to try the recipe when it comes back out again. I missed the one with Maui Madness. They partnered with a Better Sleep app to really push their sleep teas, which are something I am grabbing a sampler to sort of test out, help myself sleep. They got into 1250 LeBlancs. They got into Rexall's with all of their store within a store concept, which is genius. I got a whole page of stuff. They did an amazing Halloween collection. The art was unbelievable. My favorite collection of the year. It was just super cool. I'm so excited for next Halloween to be first in line dressed as a witch. Pumpkin flavors were expanded. They did like pumpkin creme brulee, expanded that out to like 8 different blends, which was awesome. 3 new Christmas calendars were released, the matcha, the non-caffeinated, and the traditional, which were really fun. I really should upload all of the steeps I did. 6 pop-up locations were launched for Christmas, which were unbelievable. Peter, if you were behind those, I believe you were. Great job. It is exceptional. It needs to be a core part of the business. These pop-ups need to be everywhere, and even if flagships stay at 18, which I hope they continue to go up very slowly, unbelievably cool stuff. Steeping Together was released, which Marika leads and hosts and does an incredible part of building a community and showing how hard the staff work and how even if DavidsTea is big with the resources to be commercial, there is so much love and passion and excellence that goes into this. Just because DavidsTea has a lot of revenue, there's a reason. They can bring in people to do good marketing for sure, but that doesn't mean they skimp on sourcing or research and development and Billy Dietz and Kelly. Like, they all are unbelievable people. that just love tea. Like, scary how much they love it. I am totally imposed. They're imposing. It's scary. But this is the Sarah Segal era, and like there was just so much stuff that happened, and so much good stuff, and so much stuff that are initiatives. They expanded their subscription box to include just like 4 new different types of subscription box that you could have. So you could have David's Tea Choices, or I believe like Single Origin, and that's a fantastic thing. And it comes with a tasting club, which I've been a part of, with incredible tea, like people just talking, and a community of people that actually care and just have very constructive things to say. That's what's important. That ecosystem with Steeping Together and the Tea Tasting Club, that makes David's Tea powerful and a powerhouse. All right, so we're gonna do some financials. We're gonna have some fun here. This is numbers. It's supposed to be boring, but it tells a very interesting story. We have a company that's coming fresh out of a complete restructuring where they had to, pay out $18 million, but they're debt-free now. They have a full-on staff of great people. They have cash in the bank of $13.4 million. They have working capital. Their margins are still great. They're bringing back on staff, and it's telling a really exciting story. So I'm going to go through financials. I'm going to say some boring numbers, and then we're going to examine and analyze what that actually means. So just going and starting at the top, the amount of money they made in quarter 3 is $22.2 million. $22 million. Awesome. I care less about what their net is. Net is basically after taxes, after paying everyone. Their net revenue, it was like a negative number, but it's because they're bringing back on staff, they're bringing back on customer service. But let's just say for a second, the number of quarter 3 to look out for into 2022, what they do this come fall season, is going to be 22.2. That number hopefully will go up with all of the initiatives they have. They have $13.4 million in cash. And then they break that down to wholesale and e-commerce made $17.1 million, 77% of their business, and stores made $5.1 million, which is up $1 million. Let's look at context there. So the first thing that they said is judge the revenues not year to year. Because once again, we're going into the Sarah Segal era. She was made CEO after Herschel stepped down, and she has been focused on saving the company, making very difficult decisions. And now she is entirely about growth, entirely about sustainable. And as they said 1,000 times in the earnings call, being digital first and omni-channel, which I don't know, it's business speak, it's synergies. And, it basically just means we want to be online, going through social media channels, but also available at stores and using store within a store concepts. I know this is a little bland, but it's telling a story, and I'm going to try to keep working forward to telling this narrative, that this sort of is crazy narrative that this team is picking. So that said, I'm sure that they are looking at what their margins are on their Facebook and Instagram ads, like the conversions and the ROAS and all of that. But the number we're looking at is 22.2 quarter 3. We don't do anything at that number in the Sarah Segal era until we get another quarter 3 from the Sarah Segal era that is not under a pandemic. So team's doing great. I am so proud of 22.2, sustainable. You can move margins around. Sourcing may get better. Staff pricing can be streamlined, however that is. But that's the number. Let's wait till 2022, quarter 3 Halloween, when I'm dressed as a ghost, to give any judgment on management. But there is what I do want to break down. This is the number that interests me the most. Wholesale and e-commerce. That is Walmart, Rexall, Loblaw, anywhere where they're selling to a business for the business to sell David's Tea there. Store within a store at Rexall counts as that. That's not stores, it's just wholesale. E-commerce is direct to consumer, it's through the website. That was included also in the $17.1 million price. Now, how much did each of those channels in this omni-channel ecosystem, how much revenue did we make off of wholesale? No idea. How much revenue did we make off the website? No idea. How much did we make off of emails? Instagram ads? No idea. We don't know because they are included in the entire line item. And when I reached out to investor relations, they said they sadly can't disclose that under management disclosure. And I get it. They can't just let someone buy, let's say, one share and leak, something that could say how their strategy is going to be. It can impact how DavidsTea is long term. If their wholesale has a faltering quarter, they could have shareholders that don't care about the future of DavidsTea and the future of tea accessibility. They could get mad and sue DavidsTea because, well, why are you focused on LeBlanc and Rexall when you had a down quarter, even though it's a perfectly good strategy long term. But that number is somewhat bothersome and a little scary to me. So something I am going to be watching very close, and possibly one day elevating from the investor relations channel to a direct request officially to Frank Zitella, COO, CFO of DavidsTea, and basically saying, as a shareholder, I will sign an NDA. I need to know those analyst numbers on wholesale versus e-commerce, because it is 77% of the business. And frankly, wholesale could be 5%. It could be as much revenue as food and beverage at $500,000. We just don't know. So this is the interesting part of financials right now, this graph right here. So you can really break down where DavidsTea gets its revenues from. I'm part of that. I bought tea from them. I bought the calendars. I bought drinks when they were in Chicago here. But if you look at this, I'm looking away. I hope my audio is capturing this. You can break down everything they sell from tea accessories like the kettles, and then break it down finally into food and beverage, which is in-store tea guides making drinks for people in like $250 or something. They're very cheap compared to other places. What was surprising was food and beverage accounts for nearly $500,000. And they've always said that segment's been too small, but it's something to look into just for the future, just because a pickup DavidsTea would be pretty cool in like a major Canadian city. Internet sales for Americans, 4.254 million, and that's all DavidsTea sold in America, which shocked me. I thought it'd be roughly half and half, because even if per capita tea is down in America, it is 10x the population of Canada. Like, the brand was everywhere. It still has brand recognition in America. People bring it up to me when they don't even know I'm a shareholder. Let me put it this way. Herschel Segal said that he was thinking it should just be a major Canadian brand. And that concerns me, because America is 1, 10 times the size. 2, there are so many people passionate about tea who are American, but they have no support system and no backing. And the environment's just not conducive. And so it takes extra work. But the idea that DavidsTea is here to have learning centers and sponsored, tea sessions and things like that, that's worthwhile, because long term, these numbers need to grow. These numbers need to, say, in like a decade, be much, much larger. That's the goal of them. That's the goal of me. That's the goal of every shareholder, because that means DavidsTea has succeeded. But these numbers are giving a weird story. They're saying that they are experimenting with wholesale and e-commerce right now, and they do not want those numbers to be disclosed. They have management disclosure, which is fine. So that's just going to be interesting. It's interesting that food and bev is a massive, it's like 5%, or it's like 3.5% of all revenue, which out of 18 locations is awesome. But it is so sad that the USA is such a small market share once they have taken out the learning centers. And I think that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be learning centers in America. I think that means we need to take an analysis point of view and say, how can we do this much more sustainably and not do 90 locations? Do 1 location in New York, 1 location in Chicago, have a relatively small amount of flagship learning centers where you can cultivate tea communities, where you can cultivate people who really want it. So those numbers are saying a very interesting story that I did not imagine on first viewing of these reports. Sarah said that she was born into a family of entrepreneurs to build something and create something out of nothing, and they did it. They built a massive company that produces and has made tea more accessible than any Western tea company. And now they are facing the idea of, like Apple, we have to redefine, but also keep the mission alive. We have to make magic, make memories, make it so that people and our team of the greatest, like, superhero Avengers of tea can build something that will change consumers. And the important thing is, as we keep going, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? what are we doing to make sure that we take care of our staff? What are we doing to make sure that all this stuff, but why are we doing it even further? We are here to change culture and build per capita tea learning, because all boats are going to rise if more people get into tea. But if we stay out of America, except for Facebook ads, there's no difference, that can substantiate long term. Because you've got to have a way to get tea into people's hands. They're not just randomly going to buy it. Or it's going to be very hard, and you're going to end up with a country of 350 million buying $4 million in tea. And so I just want everyone in management, the Steve Cook of Frank Zitella and the Steve Jobs without any of the anger issues of Sarah Segal, you guys in your management team that's 70% women, which is great, are working hard and making hard decisions. And so I ask you, just as someone watching, I pay and do all of this and spend my time analyzing a tea company because it is like the greatest show I've ever seen. Watching all of you work, and everyone on the team just kill it for this mission and this passion. It is a show that is uncomparable. And so I want to make sure that this is a season finale that leads into many more seasons and not a series finale. And so all I'm asking is, I trust you. I see that you're doing the right things. We'll keep going forward, but take a moment and hopefully please get perspective on why and what are the actual stakes beyond, can we sell tea? Can we sell a product and optimize? Because you guys are winning. Every single quarter you are winning and eroding away every negative thing in your path. And you are exciting and the shares are in control. So that's it. Ask why, and I will see you guys in quarter 4. Thank you.
This concludes our remarks, and I thank you all for joining us today. I would also like to thank and wish everyone all the best for the holiday season. We look forward to speaking with you following the release of our fourth quarter results in 2022. Have a great day.